हिंदू ही तो बोलेंगे, और नहीं तो कौन बोलेंगे?
नहीं, आप
आपके घर पे कोई अटैक करे तो घर वाले ही तो आवाज उठाएंगे।
किसी से डरता नहीं।
हाँ जी,
हिंदुस्तान का हिंदू कभी किसी से डरता नहीं है।
डरने की बात ही नहीं है, मगर नो नो नो, 1 मिनट, कौन डरता है? हम तो कह रहे हैं डोंट टेक इट लाइंग डाउन, हिट बैक।
वी आर इंडियन, और हम कभी किसी से नहीं डरते।
No, we are Indian and then Hindu, but can you say that you are also Indian and then Muslim?
No, we are Indian also.
No, not Indian also. I'll say I'm an Indian first, Bharatiya first, and then a Hindu.
Yes.
Will you say that?
हिंदू भाई पर भी कहीं पर जुल्म होगा तो किसी भी मुल्क ने जुल्म।
नहीं, आप मेरे क्वेश्चन का आंसर नहीं दे रहे।
बांग्लादेश को हम बर्दाश्त नहीं करेंगे।
Anyway, now my question is, Hinduphobia is real. Ladies and gentlemen, 2020 में there was a caricature of Preeti Patel. She was mocked. She was I think she was the Home Minister of United Kingdom. You know why she was mocked? Because she's a Hindu. Most anti-Hindu crimes कहाँ हो रही है? California में. Even well-known players like cricketer Danish Kaneria has to be targeted because he's a Hindu.
अरे कनाडा में और ऑस्ट्रेलिया में कौन मारा जा रहा है?
हाँ, लक्ष्मी नारायण मंदिर है कनाडा के ब्रिटिश कोलंबिया में, वो टारगेट हुई है। राम मंदिर है मिसर कनाडा में, उस पर टारगेट हुई है। स्वामीनारायण मंदिर टारगेट हुई है न्यूयॉर्क कैलिफोर्निया में।
अरे
भाई की बात कर रहे हैं। आई एम सेइंग हिंदू एंटी हिंदू जो लोग हैं इन्होंने टारगेट किया है, हिंदू फोबिक लोगों ने टारगेट किया है। जैसे जूस को टारगेट किया वैसे हिंदूज को टारगेट किया है। जैसे जूस को टारगेट किया गया था, जैसे हिटलर ने जूस को टारगेट किया था, वैसे हिंदूज को टारगेट किया जा रहा है दुनिया भर में।
अपना रिश्ता मुनक़ता कर लेवे ना। अमेरिका और कनाडा के साथ हिंदुस्तान अपना रिश्ता।
मैं हिंदू, आई एम मेकिंग अ पॉइंट दैट हिंदूज हैव बीन टारगेटेड। आपको बुरा क्यों लग रहा है?
किसने टारगेट किया?
आपको बुरा क्यों लग रहा है?
टारगेट किया? किस कम्युनिटी ने टारगेट किया?
आपको गुस्सा क्यों आ रहा है? See, are you seeing this, Pandit Satish Sharma? I merely have to mention that Hindus are being targeted and there is an insane amount of opposition to what I'm saying. मैंने गलत क्या कहा?
This is the very reason, this is the very mindset, this is the very Islamic hate towards Hindus that is targeting Hindus across the world. You've spoken about, I am talking about the Pennsylvania, I am talking about California, I am talking about Smithwick, everywhere, whether it is, desecrating Hindu temples, whether it is desecrating Hindu scriptures, whether it is mocking Hindu people, whether it is, tilting the cow heads and throwing them in front of the temples. You just have to Google and there'll be a lot of instances. Yes, Hindu phobia is real for globally, and right now, just because even there's a rise of Hindu consciousness, Hindus were not expected that they will take up a call and they will retaliate, they will demand for their security.
I'd like
they
to
will
go
demand
across
for
to one or two guests from Bangladesh if I can, because I've just had this reaction from the Bangladesh government which says whatever is happening to the ISKCON priest is our internal matter. I'd like to get a view from Pandit Satish Sharma, who's listening in from London. You're listening into the conversation. I'm sure you're up to date with what's happening in Bangladesh. Is this issue being discussed and debated among Hindus in the United Kingdom, elsewhere across the world as well?
Good evening, Arnab ji and Jai Shri Ram, to yourself and to everybody on the panel. Firstly, if I can just make an observation, I'm deeply saddened at the lack of compassion for simple humans who are struggling to stay alive in the country of Bangladesh, demonstrated by some of your co-panelists. It's very difficult to see a solution arising when basic respect for the freedom to live, just to live and to have freedom of religion, is not respected by people who appear to be eminent clerics. So putting that to one side, yes, this is being raised in every corner, but I think for Hindus internationally, for us, this is now a moment of incredible learning. We are going to see all of the hypocrites come out, all of the people who, when CAA was introduced, were beating their breasts and saying that this is discriminatory. Well, we are seeing the evidence for why CAA was so critical and so necessary. It's a strange situation that, from us in our position, we do not believe that a human being is born with hatred, that hatred has to be deliberately and consciously seeded in the heart of a vulnerable child and then nurtured and fuel poured on that fire so that that child can one day become a terrorist who cannot see the shared humanity in a person in front of him and can only see blind hatred. And so this is not something which is accidental. It was predictable. My heart goes out to Sushilji as well. The number of times I have seen him and heard him screaming from the treetops that this is going to happen, and it happens repeatedly again and again. One dimension I'd like to bring into this is that is the hypocrisy of the international community. Where are the United Nations peacekeeping forces? Where are the British government's Foreign and Commonwealth Office members saying we need desperately a humanitarian corridor? You know, where is the voice which is saying that these Hindus are being persecuted are in fact the indigenous residents and citizens living in their own homeland, with their traditional indigenous culture being ethnically cleansed? Where are the voices of Shamnesty International demanding some sort of intervention? The silence is absolutely deafening. And I think this is something that the Indian government really now needs to look up at. The British government have an entity here called Open Doors UK. Every year they issue a list of countries where Christians are being persecuted. And I've had a glimpse. It's going to be launched in January. And would you believe that India is at number 11 on this list of international perpetrators of violence against Christians and minorities? Bangladesh, would you believe, is at number 26. So Bangladesh apparently, in the league table, is way beneath India when it comes to the protection of minority rights. This is not based on evidence. This is spreading hatred. You have mentioned that we're seeing the rise of hatred. This is not an accident. We saw it being seeded when Vivek Ramaswamy was interviewed by Ann Coulter, and she said, well, I love your policies, but I can't vote for you because you're a Hindu. We saw it being seeded in California, and we have heard it and seen it being seeded in Bangladesh. It's apparent the state in Bangladesh has never adhered to or respected the rights of the Hindus. It would have gotten rid of the Enemy Vested Properties Act a long time ago, which openly allows for property from Hindus to be seized. Hindus have no human rights in Bangladesh. I think it's absolutely necessary for the international community to step in. If the international community does not step in, the global Hindu diaspora will need to reconsider its assessment of the capacity of nation states like Britain, like the United States, to even have an interest in protecting Hindu national rights.
I think the global Hindu diaspora needs to come together and see this as a wake-up call. And if Hindus are going to be taken for granted everywhere in the world, Pandit Satish Sharma, and we are quiet saying, oh, but we are in a secular country. We are in a secular country.